Good day, ladies and gentlemen, out of our studios here in Munich, Commodity TV for you. And with me here is Dr. Alistar Cowden, the Managing Director of Altona Mining. You remember, the fantastic company out of Australia want to go in production with their little EVA project and with their big Chinese partner. And Alistar is here to give us an update. Alistar, great to have you here.
Great to be in Munich, and particularly just before Oktoberfest.
That's right, yeah, we got to do that tomorrow.
Looking forward to it.
Definitely. Before we go to Oktoberfest, let's face it a bit, update on your SRIG deal.
Sure.
And maybe, what is going on and what is the status now?
Well, you may remember we announced probably just last July that we had completed a heads of agreement with SRIG. And in that time, since then, SRIG have completed a lot of due diligence, drilling, metallurgical test work, a lot of work with major accounting firms and so forth, and completing documentation. We're now in the process where we're in the conditions precedent to closing. So there's a lot to be done. This is a large and complex deal. It'll involve a Hong Kong company, Chinese companies, Australian companies, and restructuring assets in Australia. So it's a complex deal. Yeah. So where we're at is we've told the market that we're targeting closing on October 30, but I'd have to admit that it's challenging to get there on time. But we'll update the markets in due course on that.
Definitely. Yeah, but I can imagine it's tons of paperwork, and it's a $240 million deal, isn't it?
It's a big deal, and it's very, very good for only one person. That's the lawyers.
They write the checks for the fees, that's for sure. We have spoken about the nature and the structure of the deal, but maybe you can again elaborate a little bit. Why is this a favorite for Altona?
Well, when you look at mining deals, little companies, big projects, big capital, many of them, the little company goes out and borrows a lot of money from a bank. It usually takes on hedging, which limits the upside in the commodity price. And when something goes wrong, when you've got a lot of leverage, you die and everyone loses money. We deliberately went out and looked for a different structure. So the Chinese money is coming in as cash, all up front, into the incorporated vehicle. No debt, no dilution of Altona shareholders. So that means that the joint venture company on day one will be fully funded, it'll have its capital costs covered, and more than enough working capital to see us into production. And the other important thing about having no bank debt is, generally, what happens to the profits in a mining venture that's heavily geared is for 4 or 5 years, the money goes to the bank. Not in this case. The money will go to the owners of the business. So that means us, the Altona shareholder.
Dividends.
Yeah,
right.
And hopefully, hopefully.
Yeah, we always assume everything goes well.
Yes.
Great. Maybe can we talk a little bit about the numbers? From the DFS that was done in 2014, if I'm right?
Yes.
And so the numbers are a little bit, I call it outdated. Is it, for you an advantage, or does it mean higher costs? Maybe can you give us a bit of an idea?
Sure. Well, Australia just went through a mining boom and is now in a mining bust. Certainly in base metals, coal, gold is showing signs of life, but outside that, it's terrible times. So there's a huge mining industry, huge service industry, engineering companies, mining contractors, and there's no work. The margins have collapsed. So many of the cost inputs into our studies were at much higher rates than are prevalent today. So what we're hoping is that when we close the SRIG joint venture, we'll sit down, we'll re-optimize the project, look at everything again, do front-end engineering, start letting major contracts, then we'll have real costs and we'll tell the market, and I expect them to be materially better than what we've announced.
Can you give us an idea? I think it was $1.96 AISC, if I'm right. And maybe is there a chance, let's say, to go down to 180, for example?
I would have thought that's fairly easy to do. But one of the challenges is that these costs are quoted in US dollars and costs are in Australian dollars. So sometimes there's swings and roundabouts in the exchange rates, but they're certainly going to be materially better.
Fantastic. Okay, so that sounds like we will hear shortly about a SRIG deal from you. There will be some announcements. That's fine. But you already had some wonderful announcements, meaning that you did some exploration in the south.
Sure.
So please give us an insight there.
Well, a large part of our business in this last couple of years has been taking what we've learned and defining these very large resources on the SRIG joint venture into 100% Altona ground. And we've built a very large ground position quietly over this last bit of time and started to apply many of the techniques that we've learned. We use things like drone imagery to map detailed topography which reflects geology. We use an X-ray gun where you can walk up to a rock and go zap, and you can get an instant copper analysis or of soil. So we've put all this together and been generating, with the help of old data that we process, new targets in all this 100% owned ground, say 50 kilometers south of the SRIG joint venture. And we've found these very large copper and soil anomalies, very large. So when we compare them to, say, the 100 million ton Little Eva deposit, which is the core of the SRIG joint venture, they're many times bigger than that. We'll be starting drilling within a week. And then the truth machine will tell. I am utterly confident we're going to find ore bodies. The question is, are they this size or this size? But the rocks are a little different from what we see further north. They're a little bit different in style. And also there's a lot more gold around compared to the copper deposits to the north.
Which is not bad to have, right?
That's fantastic. The gold credits are all to the bottom line. So we're quite encouraged by the style of geology, the size of the anomalies. And for this stage, you can't ask for any more, but we just have to be patient and wait to see what we get when we drill a hole in the ground.
Fantastic. And also, I think we can call it, you're doing some environmental friendly biological exploration, right? There's a little bush which is growing only where there's a lot of copper, right?
Well, one of the amazing things, people are only used to metals in the environment being pollution. Well, it occurs naturally, and over an ore body, you can get very, very high copper levels in soil, and it poisons normal vegetation. But in this part of the world near Mount Isa, you get this wonderful white flowering bush, which only grows where there's high copper. So at the right time of the year, you go, white bush, must be copper around somewhere. And sure enough, there is. And usually 0.2% copper or more in soil where you get that bush. So high values, almost ore grades in soil.
Wow, fantastic. And with these new techniques you are using, like the drones, like the X-ray gun, how many samples have you now taken?
Well, normally an assay for copper or whatever would cost you around $30. With the X-ray gun, it's free. It's just the labor, and the guy can do hundreds of them.
And the software, probably.
Yeah. So software's virtually free. We've done 10 to 12,000 samples since March, since the rain stopped. And so you multiply that up, $300,000-$400,000 worth of assays. And we're probably collecting 5, 6 to 100 to 1,000 a week at the moment. Lots and lots. And what it allows us to do is to do so many more and brings a precision to definition of these targets, which you can tie into geology and other drone imagery, geophysics, much, much better. So it's just changed the resolution. That's what it's the main thing that's done. And it's a very simple technique, just being able to assay, but cost is generally the thing that drives innovation. There's lots of smart things you can do, but it costs a lot of money. When it becomes cheap, people innovate.
You love it, definitely. That's for sure. So, but that means also to me then, like, if you're, I'm not a geologist, so when I put a hole in the ground, I should know where I drill. And that is exactly what you are doing now. You're doing the pre-work, and now you know exactly, okay, maybe this would really make sense to hit an ore body.
So what we do is we do all these, we're like sniffer dogs. So we get all the right smells and we find an area. But the truth is in drilling. And there's not always a one-to-one correlation between what you see at the surface and what you see underneath. And if you think about the nature of the word discovery that we use in exploration, the word discovery means that before it happened, you didn't know. So one of the tricks of being in exploration is to be humble enough to realize that you're ignorant, you don't know, and willing to be surprised or disappointed.
Lovely. Alistar, surprise us, please, positively.
We'll do our best.
I would love to have that. And all the best for the drilling. And I'm pretty sure that we see then before Christmas some hopefully nice results.
Thank you very much, Jochen.
Thank you.
Prost.
I look forward to that too. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching us here. And you heard it. I think it's the deal with SRIG. We will see shortly some announcements, and I'm quite confident that Alistar will get it done, because if somebody get it done, then it's him. And on the other hand, there is lots of exploration potential, and I think they have now over 3,200 square kilometers in Australia of land, and where only like 800 kilometers is within the SRIG deal. So the rest really belongs 100% to Altona, and the drills start to turn within the next 2 weeks. And I'm quite confident that we will see soon some results, and hopefully good results. So that was it from Munich. Now we are heading towards the Oktoberfest. Thanks for watching us. Bye-bye.